My wife asked me for $300,000 for charity. Turns out she's not even who she says she is. It all started with a phone call. Or rather, the one I didn't get. I was in the shower, 10 minutes tops. When I came out, my wife, let's call her Jane for now, was sitting on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a towel, scrolling through my phone like it was hers. Who was it? I asked, towel drying my hair. She didn't even look up. Spam. You should block those numbers. And I just believed her. Because that's what you do when you trust someone, right? You don't assume your wife is lying to your face while holding your phone like it's a loaded weapon. But that was the first crack. I just didn't see it yet. Next came the social media blackout. I tried logging into Instagram one night after a slow shift at the restaurant. Just wanted to zone out and scroll. Password didn't work. Tried Facebook. Same thing. Locked out. I asked her the next morning, did you change my passwords? She didn't even blink. You said you wanted a break from all that garbage. I thought I'd help. I never said that. But she said it like I had, and I didn't want to start a fight. That's Jane's superpower. She makes you feel like disagreeing with her is some kind of betrayal. Like you're the one being unreasonable. Then my contacts started disappearing. Mike, my best friend since high school, best man at our wedding, called me. I missed it. When I went to call him back, his number was gone. So was my sister's, my sous chef, even my accountant. It was like someone had gone through my phone with a scalpel and cut out everyone who wasn't her. Of course, I restored all the contacts she had deleted, but the fact that she deleted them in the first place was strange. And only later did I understand what her goal was. And then, boom, she hits me with it. She's slicing strawberries at the kitchen island like we're talking about brunch plans, and she says, I need $300,000. I almost dropped my coffee. For what? Medical relief, she says. There's a clinic in Guatemala. They're desperate. I have contacts. It's urgent. I just stared at her. 300 grand? She looked at me like I just kicked a puppy. Daniel, this isn't for me. It's for those who can't afford to pay for medical services. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just left. Went to the restaurant early. Needed to think. But thinking around Jane is like trying to breathe underwater. She fills every space, every thought. That night, I lay in bed next to her and thought about the first time we met. A fundraiser in Soho. She was in this navy dress, hair pinned up, glass of wine in hand. Said she was a trauma surgeon. Talked about doctors without borders like she'd just come back from a war zone. I remember thinking, she's too good for me. 2 months after we met, we got married. Spoiler, she wasn't. A week later, I found the first forged contract. It was buried in a drawer with my restaurant's quarterly reports. My signature, perfect, practiced on a document I'd never seen. Some crypto startup. $200,000. I stared at it for a long time. My name, my handwriting, but not my hand. That night, I confronted her. She was brushing her hair in the mirror. I said I found something. A contract, with my name on it. Something I didn't sign. She didn't even flinch. You're being paranoid. Am I? She set the brush down. You're under stress. The restaurant. Your dad's estate. You're not thinking clearly. I asked her straight up, did you sign it? She turned around, calm as ever. I did what needed to be done. You were dragging your feet. It was a good opportunity. You forged my name. I protected your interests. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. You protected me by pretending to be me. She stepped closer. You're not seeing the big picture. I've done more for you than anyone ever has. I've kept your name clean. I've blocked toxic people. I've shielded you. From what? From yourself. That was the moment I knew. Not suspected, knew. She wasn't helping me. She was managing me. Like I was a brand she was trying to control. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. I thought about that fundraiser again. How she leaned in and said, you're different. You actually care. I thought it was intimacy. Now I think it was reconnaissance. And here's the kicker. She's not even a doctor. Not anymore. Lost her license 2 years ago. Malpractice. She did not save the patient. She never told me. I found out from the PI I hired after the forged contract. Got the report in a sealed envelope. Read it in my office with the door locked and the blinds drawn. I felt sick. Called my lawyer the next day. Told him everything. He said to freeze the accounts, change the passwords, document everything. So I did. Every text, Every email, every transfer. I started building a case. And she still had no idea. Still kissed me in the morning. Still talked about our future like it was a shared dream and not a con job. Then last night, she asked for another 100 grand. Another clinic? I asked. She smiled. No, this one's for a research grant. Treatment of incurable diseases. Very promising. I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger. A manipulator. A liar. I said, sure. I'll wire it tomorrow. She kissed me. You're a good man, Daniel. I smiled back. So are you, Jane. And that's when I knew I had her. Because Jane's real name isn't Jane. And tomorrow, she's going to find out I know. But tonight, I'm going to watch her sleep. And wonder how many other men she's done this to. And how many of them are still alive. I didn't sleep the night she asked for another 100 grand. Just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling while she breathed beside me like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't erased my friends, hijacked my finances, and turned my life into a goddamn Truman Show. At 5:12 a.m., I got up. Quiet. Careful. I made coffee in the dark, no lights, just the low hum of the fridge and the burner clicking on like a warning shot. I opened my laptop and clicked on the folder labeled J. Inside, PDFs, screenshots, audio files. Everything the PI had dug up over the last 2 weeks. Her real name? Vanessa Jane Holloway. She'd used 5 aliases in the last 7 years, all tied to men with money. A hedge fund retiree in Tampa, a plastic surgeon in Scottsdale, a vineyard owner in Sonoma. All of them bled dry. All of them humiliated. The PI said the timing was interesting. She'd forged documents before. Loan apps, investment contracts, even a fake letter from a medical board saying she'd been reinstated. She blackmailed at least 2 of them. One paid her off to avoid a scandal. The other tried to fight back and ended up in court for domestic abuse. Charges dropped. Reputation ruined. I stared at the screen until the sun came up. Then I called my lawyer. She's a pro, I said. I've seen worse, he said. But not much. We filed the divorce papers that afternoon. Froze the last 2 accounts she had access to. My financial advisor found 2 loans taken out in my name, $80K and $120,000. Both forged, both active, both tied to shell companies she'd set up under a fake nonprofit. I called Mike, my best friend, the one she deleted from my contacts. Told him everything. He didn't say, I told you so, but I could hear it in the silence. You okay? He asked. No, I said. But I'm getting there. Jane didn't notice the shift right away. She still answered my phone when I left it on the counter. Still smiled when she handed it back. Still talked about her contacts in Uganda or Peru or wherever the hell she was pretending to save lives that week. She tried to kiss me one night. I turned my head. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing, I said. You've been distant. I've been busy. She touched my arm. You're not mad about the grant, are you? I told you it's urgent. I looked at her. You ever think about going back to medicine? She blinked. What? Getting your license back. Practicing again. She laughed. That's not how it works, Daniel. Once you walk away, you walk away. Right, I said. Walk away. She didn't ask what I meant. Just smiled and went back to her laptop. The next morning, I left the divorce papers on the kitchen table. Didn't say a word. Just left them there, next to her coffee mug and the almond milk she pretended to like. She didn't bring them up until dinner. What is this? She asked, holding the envelope like it was radioactive. You know what it is. You're making a mistake. No, I said. I made one. Last year, when I married you. Her face didn't change. Just a flicker, like a light bulb about to burn out. You don't know what you're doing, she said. I know exactly what I'm doing. You're throwing away everything we built. We didn't build anything. You stole it. She stood there for a second, then turned and walked out. No yelling, no tears, just silence. That night, she didn't come home. The next morning, a story ran in the local paper. Headline: Restaurateur accused of financial misconduct by anonymous source. The article quoted a close associate who claimed I'd misused investor funds, emotionally abused my wife, and exhibited erratic behavior. I called my lawyer. He was already on it. She's trying to get ahead of the story, he said. Classic deflection. 2 nights later, Security footage from the restaurant caught her breaking in. August 22nd, 2:14 a.m. She used a stolen key to get into the office. Went straight for the filing cabinet. Didn't even hesitate. Like she knew exactly what she was looking for. She didn't see the new camera we'd installed above the door. The cops picked her up 20 minutes later, still in the parking lot, trying to shred documents in the back seat of her car. She screamed about planted evidence and male aggression and political persecution. The officer who called me said she was theatrical. The restraining order came through the next day. She can't come within 500 feet of me or the restaurant. Her lawyer called mine, said she was willing to negotiate. I told him to go to hell. That night, I sat in my office, lights off, door locked. I looked at the photo on my desk. Me and Jane at the restaurant opening, champagne in hand, smiling like idiots. I threw it in the trash. Then I opened the PI's last file. It was a list of names. Men she'd targeted. Some still alive. Some not. One of them had left a note. Just one line. She said she loved me. I closed the file. And that's when it hit me. She never once said that to me. Not once. And somehow, that hurt more than everything else. But also made things clear. Because now I knew what I had to do next. And it wasn't going to be pretty. Thought the worst was over. Spoiler, it wasn't. The courthouse smelled like bleach and old regrets. I sat at the end of the hallway, suit jacket folded over my arm, watching a janitor mop the same square of tile like he was trying to erase something that wouldn't come off. My lawyer, Harris, stood next to me flipping through a folder thick enough to double as a murder weapon. She's going to drag this out, he said. Filed a counterclaim this morning. Says you had assets. Emotional cruelty. The usual. I didn't even flinch. I was too tired to be angry. Too angry to be tired. He handed me a copy of the filing. She's also asking for spousal support. I laughed. Of course she is. She's not subtle. No, I said. She's efficient. That afternoon, we filed our own suit, fraud, forgery, restitution. Harris said we had a strong case. The PI's documentation was airtight. Forged contracts, fake nonprofit, loans in my name, and the break-in footage? That was the cherry on top. I upgraded security at the restaurant. Cameras, motion sensors, new locks. Told the staff, if she shows up, call the cops. No warnings. No exceptions. She didn't show up in person, but she found other ways. A week later, some guy in a gray hoodie showed up at my apartment building. Said he had a message from Jane. I didn't let him finish. Just closed the door and called Harris. She's testing the restraining order, he said. Trying to rattle you. She's doing a good job. The media campaign didn't stop. She gave interviews to anyone with a microphone. Claimed I was emotionally abusive, controlling, unstable. One article quoted her saying, I weaponized kindness as a form of manipulation. I didn't even know what that meant. Still don't. But then the tide started to turn. The PI leaked her criminal history to a local reporter. The same outlets that had been eating out of her hand started asking questions. Headlines flipped. Humanitarian or hustler? The surgeon who wasn't. From Or to Courtroom, the fall of Dr. Holloway. I kept my head down, focused on a lawsuit, on the restaurant, on breathing. Started therapy twice a week. My therapist, Carla, didn't flinch when I told her everything. She just nodded and said, You're not broken. You were targeted. Feels the same. It's not. I believed her. Most days. The court date came fast. August 14th. Jane showed up in a white blazer and sunglasses like she was auditioning for a reboot of The Good Wife. Her lawyer looked like he hadn't slept in a week. Harris laid it all out. Documents, footage, testimony. Mike took the stand. So did my sous chef. My accountant. Even my ex from 5 years ago. All of them said the same thing. I wasn't the man she described. But she was exactly the woman we feared. Jane didn't testify. Her lawyer said she was emotionally unfit. The judge didn't look impressed. August 22nd, the ruling came down. Jane was ordered to pay $500,000 in damages. The restraining order was extended. The divorce was finalized. She got nothing. I sat in the courtroom after everyone left. Just me and the bailiff. I didn't feel victorious. I felt like I just finished a marathon I never signed up for. Later that week, Harris called. There's something else, he said. Court documents from another case. She was seeing someone else. While married to you. Who? Real estate developer in Stanford. Same story. Different name. She was using the alias Dr. Elise Monroe. I didn't say anything. You okay? Yeah, I said. Just tired. I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. Then I opened my laptop and deleted every photo of her. Every email. Every message. Changed my passwords again. Called the bank. Called the credit bureau. Called my mom. She cried. I didn't. The media flipped completely. One outlet ran a full expose. Interviews with her past victims. A timeline of her aliases. A photo of her in handcuffs from the night of the break-in. The comments were brutal. For once, not about me. I started talking to people. Quietly. Other men she'd conned. One of them ran a support group. Invited me to join. I said I'd think about it. Told my staff the truth. Not all the details, but enough. They were supportive. One of the line cooks hugged me. I didn't even know his name. I invested in new accounting software. Hired a second bookkeeper. Installed panic buttons in the office. Not because I was scared. Because I wasn't going to be caught off guard again. Carla said, that was progress. You're reclaiming control, she said. Feels like I'm just patching holes. Sometimes that's what healing looks like. I nodded. Didn't argue. One night, I sat at the bar after closing. Just me and Mike. He poured 2 fingers of bourbon and slid one over. You ever think about dating again? He asked. I stared at the glass. Not really. Probably smart. We drank in silence. Then he said, you know she's not done, right? I looked at him. She's not the type to walk away. I didn't answer. Because I already knew. And this time I was ready. I wish I could say this is the end, but with people like her, there's never really an end. Just quieter chapters. The check never came. Not that I expected it to. Jane, Vanessa, Elise, whatever name she's using this week, isn't the type to pay what she owes. She's the type to vanish, leave a mess, and blame the broom. Harris filed a motion to enforce the judgment. We knew she was hiding assets, shell accounts, fake charities, probably crypto wallets under one of her aliases. The PI tracked a wire transfer to a bank in Belize, another to a property firm in Nevada. She was trying to disappear, but she wasn't good at being quiet anymore. She's slipping, the PI said. Desperate people get loud. The court froze her known accounts. We subpoenaed the property firm. Harris said it was only a matter of time before she ran out of places to hide. Meanwhile, I kept working. The restaurant was steady. I brought in a second manager, upgraded the security system again. I started sleeping through the night, most nights. Carla, my therapist, said that was progress. The media finally caught up. A local paper ran a full expose, The Anatomy of a Con. They used her real name, listed her aliases, interviewed 2 of her previous victims. One of them said, she made you feel like you were the only person in the world, until she emptied your bank account. I didn't give a quote. I didn't need to. The documents spoke for themselves. Jane tried to fight back. Of course she did. She gave another interview, this time to some fringe blog that specializes in exposing corruption. She called me a narcissist, said I was obsessed with control, claimed I fabricated the evidence to punish her for leaving me. The article got 12 comments. 10 were bots. One was her, replying to herself under a fake name. The last one just said, yikes. She also sent a message through a mutual acquaintance, a guy I hadn't spoken to in years. He showed up at the restaurant, asked if we could talk. She says she's sorry, he told me. Says she never meant to hurt you. I stared at him. She also said she was a doctor. He didn't argue, just nodded and left. We reported the contact. The judge added another 6 months to the restraining order. Harris called a week later. We've recovered $180,000 so far. The rest is tied up in litigation. But it's coming. Good, I said. You're doing better than most. Doesn't feel like it. It never does. The PI sent me a final report. Jane had tried to board a flight out of state using a fake ID. TSA flagged her. She was detained, questioned, released under supervision. Her lawyer filed a motion to delay payment, citing emotional distress. The judge denied it. I kept the report in a drawer. Didn't read it twice. Mike came by the restaurant one night. We sat at the bar again. No bourbon this time. Just coffee. You look better, he said. I feel worse. He nodded. That's how you know it's real. We didn't talk about Jane. We didn't have to. The next morning, I got a call from a journalist. She was writing a follow-up. Wanted to know if I had anything to say now that the ruling was final. I thought about it. Then I said, "Tell them I'm rebuilding." That's all. She printed that. Nothing more. The article ended with a quote from the PI. "This was one of the most elaborate frauds I've seen. But he handled it. Most people don't." I didn't feel proud. I felt functional, which, after everything, was enough. Carla asked me once if I'd ever trust someone again. Eventually, I said, "Do you believe that?" "No." She smiled. "That's okay." I started talking to other victims. Quietly. One-on-one. No group therapy. Just coffee. Sometimes a walk. I told them what I'd learned. What to look for. What to ignore. How to listen to the part of your brain that whispers, "This doesn't feel right." One guy cried. Another just nodded and said, "She told me she was a nurse." I didn't laugh. I wanted to, but I didn't. The last time I saw Jane was on a screen. Court footage. She looked smaller. Not physically, just less. Like the performance had ended and she didn't know how to stand still. The judge asked if she had anything to say. She didn't. I turned off the video. That night, I walked through the restaurant alone. Checked the locks. Turned off the lights. Stood in the kitchen for a while, listening to the hum of the fridge. I thought about the first time I met her. The fundraiser. The dress. The way she said, "You're different." I thought it was love. Now I know it was strategy. She didn't love me. She studied me. And I let her. But not anymore. Because now I know what to look for. And next time, I'll see it coming. Unless, of course, it's wearing a different dress. I saw her one more time. Not in person, on a screen again. Local news segment. Grainy courthouse footage. Sunglasses on, jaw clenched. Walking like the sidewalk owed her something. The anchor called her a disgraced former physician turned convicted fraudster. They didn't mention me. They didn't have to. The story had shifted. People stopped whispering about me and started whispering about her. Her name, her real one, was in every article now. Jane Holloway, Vanessa Holloway, Elise Monroe. Whatever she called herself, it didn't matter anymore. The aliases collapsed under the weight of her own history. The PI told me she tried to get a job at a wellness clinic in Santa Rosa. They Googled her. No callback. She tried to rent an apartment under a new name. The landlord recognized her from the news. She tried to start a GoFundMe. It raised $38 before the platform shut it down for fraud. She was radioactive. Even the people who used to defend her were backing away. One of her old friends, someone she once called a sister, posted a long thread online about how she'd been manipulated and betrayed. The comments were brutal. I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel much of anything. Mike and I were at the restaurant when the last article dropped. A full profile in the Sunday paper. The woman who conned a city. They used a photo from her arrest. She looked tired. Not older, just used up. Mike slid the paper across the bar. "You want to frame it?" I shook my head. "I want to forget it." He nodded. "That's fair. The restaurant's doing better. We got most of the regulars back. A few still give me looks, like they're trying to figure out if I was stupid or just unlucky. I don't blame them. I still ask myself the same thing. Carla says that'll pass. "You're not defined by what happened to you," she told me. "You're defined by what you do next." I told her I wasn't sure what that was yet. Then start with what you don't want to repeat. That part was easy. I joined a support group. Fraud victims. Mostly men, a few women. One guy lost his house. Another lost custody of his kids. We didn't talk about revenge. We talked about patterns. How it starts. How it ends. I told them about the fundraiser. The dress. The way she said, "You're different." One guy laughed. Mine said the same thing. We all laughed. It wasn't funny, but it helped. I started meditating. 10 minutes a day. Breathing in, breathing out. Carla said it would help with the anxiety. It didn't fix anything, but it gave me space to think. I reconnected with my sister. We hadn't talked much during the mess. She'd warned me early on. I didn't listen. She just hugged me and said, "You're back." I started trusting people again. Slowly. Not everyone. Not right away. But enough. One night, I sat with Harris after a long day in court. He was working a new case, some real estate scam. I asked him if he ever got tired of it. "You mean watching people get taken?" "Yeah." He nodded. "Every day. But I like helping them get it back." "Do they?" "Sometimes. Not all of it, but enough to start over." That stuck with me. I didn't get everything back. I lost 50 grand in legal fees. I lost time. I lost sleep. I lost a version of myself I thought was smarter. But I got my name back, my business, my peace, and I got a lesson I won't forget. So here it is for anyone who needs it. If someone asks for money before they've earned your trust, walk away. If they isolate you from your friends, run. If they say all the right things too quickly, they've said them before. And if they say you're different, they probably mean you're next. I don't hate her. That would take too much energy. I don't forgive her either. That would take too much grace. I just don't think about her anymore. Except when I do. Like when I see a woman in a navy dress at a fundraiser. Or when someone says, "You're lucky to have found love." That's the part they don't tell you about survival. You don't walk away clean. You walk away aware. And awareness is a scar you carry like a badge. Not a show off. Just to remember. The last time I saw her name was in a court filing. She tried to appeal the judgment. The judge denied it in one sentence. Petition lacks merit. That was it. That's how it ended. Not with a bang. With a footnote. And that, finally, was enough.